They were such prolific musicians whose hearts were really set on being successful in the Mahavishnu.
Steve Perry, the former lead singer of Journey, recently broke his long silence to share something that has gotten the attention of rock music fans everywhere. Known for having one of the most impressive vocal ranges in rock history, Perry decided to reveal his 7 favorite musicians of all time. This announcement was particularly significant because Perry has been notoriously private since leaving Journey in the late 1990s. He rarely gives interviews and essentially disappeared from the music scene for many years. When someone with his stature and history finally opens up about his influences and favorite artists, people in the music world pay close attention. What made this revelation even more interesting was that Perry's choices were not what many people expected. His list reportedly sparked debates and discussions across music communities online. According to various sources, each selection on his list came with its own backstory, revealing insights into Perry's personal journey through the music industry and his complex relationships with fellow musicians. From his struggles with vocal insecurity to creative differences with bandmates, Perry's list of favorites seemed to open a window into decades of experiences that shaped his career and ultimately led to his withdrawal from the spotlight. At number 7 on Perry's list was Aretha Franklin, the legendary Queen of Soul. This choice came with an interesting story from Perry's past. According to various accounts, Perry met Aretha Franklin backstage at an awards show back in 1983. During that encounter, Franklin allegedly made a comment about Perry's high vocal register, suggesting that his falsetto singing style might not last forever. Sources claim that this comment had a lasting impact on Perry, making him deeply concerned about his vocal health from that point forward. The meeting with Franklin reportedly became a turning point in how Perry approached his craft. He allegedly spent years studying Franklin's vocal techniques, trying to understand how she achieved such effortless power in her performances. People who worked with both artists mentioned that while Perry had excellent technical ability, Franklin possessed a raw emotional quality that seemed almost impossible to teach. This comparison apparently stayed with Perry throughout his career, creating feelings of inadequacy despite his own considerable talents. Even so, Perry never stopped publicly praising Franklin's genius and reportedly attended several of her concerts without drawing attention to himself, watching from the back of the venue and taking mental notes on her phrasing and breath control. Music industry sources suggest that Perry's concerns about vocal health, which may have started after the encounter with Franklin, became more pronounced over time. He allegedly became very careful about warming up before performances and protecting his voice. Studio engineers who worked with him noted that he would spend considerable time preparing before recording sessions. This attention to vocal preservation may have been influenced by Franklin's early warning about the temporary nature of certain vocal abilities. Coming in at number 6 was Sam Cooke, the influential soul singer. This choice apparently revealed tensions that existed within Journey regarding musical direction. According to people familiar with the band's dynamics, Perry had always been drawn to soul music, but felt pressure to maintain Journey's rock identity. There were allegedly disagreements with guitarist Neil Schon about the band's musical direction, with Perry wanting to incorporate more soul elements into their sound while other band members preferred to stay within the rock genre they had established. Perry's vocal style was reportedly heavily influenced by Sam Cooke's smooth delivery, but Journey's management allegedly preferred to downplay this influence to maintain the band's hard rock image. Sources claim that Perry felt artistically restricted by these limitations. There are reports that Perry privately recorded several Sam Cooke covers in studios, though these recordings were never released to the public. People who heard these secret recordings suggested they showed a different side of Perry's artistry than what was heard on Journey albums. The ongoing creative differences about musical direction allegedly contributed to growing frustration that would eventually play a role in Perry's decision to leave the band. At number 5 was Marvin Gaye, another soul music legend. Perry's choice of Gaye reportedly reveals something about his complicated relationship with fame and the music industry. Marvin Gaye's tragic death in 1984 apparently had a profound effect on Perry's outlook. According to people close to him, Perry became very concerned about the darker aspects of fame after learning about Gaye's struggles. He allegedly saw parallels between Gaye's difficulties and his own increasing unhappiness with the pressures of the music business. Sources say that Perry secretly attended Marvin Gaye's funeral and was deeply affected by the experience. Witnesses claimed he was very emotional and made comments about how the industry affects artists. This event apparently changed Perry's perspective on his own career and future. Even though Perry never met Gaye personally, he reportedly felt a strong connection to his music. Band members allegedly noticed that Perry would frequently play Marvin Gaye's albums during tours, finding comfort in the emotional honesty of the recordings. Perry's eventual decision to walk away from Journey at the height of the band's success has been compared to Marvin Gaye's own struggles with industry pressure and creative control. This choice on Perry's list seems to reflect his fears about becoming another artist destroyed by the demands of fame. Donny Hathaway took the 4th position on Perry's list. This selection reportedly reveals Perry's concerns about mental health. Hathaway, who struggled with paranoid schizophrenia, apparently became a figure of fascination and fear for Perry. According to various accounts, Perry became worried about his own mental state and saw warning signs that concerned him. He allegedly studied information about Hathaway's mental health struggles and final years extensively. People around Perry during Journey's peak years noticed his anxiety about performing and his fears about losing control. Tour managers reported that Perry would experience panic attacks before shows, worried about forgetting lyrics or having mental breakdowns. The story of Hathaway's tragic end apparently became something Perry thought about frequently. Sources claim that Perry keeps photographs of Donny Hathaway in his home studio and has a spiritual connection to the late singer's memory. Friends have suggested that Perry felt warned by Hathaway's story to leave the music industry before similar problems overtook him. This choice on his list seems to illuminate the mental health struggles Perry faced during his career that many people did not fully understand at the time. Neil Schon, Journey's guitarist, surprisingly claimed the 3rd spot on Perry's list. This choice apparently shocked people familiar with the band's history because Perry and Schon allegedly had a very difficult working relationship. According to music industry sources, Perry and Schon barely communicated during the final years of Perry's time with Journey. They reportedly had frequent disagreements about songwriting credits and the band's creative direction. People who witnessed their interactions described intense arguments in recording studios that sometimes required intervention from security personnel. Despite this reported animosity between them, Perry acknowledged Schon's importance to Journey's sound. Sources suggest that Perry respected Schon's technical abilities as a guitarist even though they had personality conflicts. The two musicians apparently have not had private conversations for over 20 years. The inclusion of Schon at such a high position on Perry's list, despite their troubled relationship, suggests a complicated mix of respect for musical ability and personal conflict that characterized their time working together. Jonathan Cain, Journey's keyboardist, came in at number 2. This choice reportedly represents what Perry saw as a personal betrayal. When Cain joined Journey in 1980, he and Perry allegedly became close friends. They worked together on many of the band's hit songs and had strong creative chemistry in the early years of their collaboration. People who worked with them described a partnership where they seemed to understand each other intuitively and spent many hours crafting melodies and lyrics together. However, according to sources, this friendship deteriorated over time due to business pressures and internal band politics. The breaking point allegedly came when Cain sided with Schon during disputes about whether Perry should continue touring despite health concerns. Perry reportedly felt that Cain had chosen the band's commercial interests over their friendship. There are accounts of a band meeting where Perry confronted Cain about this perceived betrayal before walking out. After that incident, they allegedly never had a meaningful conversation again. The high placement of Cain on Perry's list, despite this painful history, shows how important their musical partnership was to Perry, even though it ended badly. Finally, at number 1 was Otis Redding, the legendary soul singer. This choice reportedly reveals Perry's deepest feelings about his entire career. According to people in the music industry, Perry always believed his true calling was to sing soul music. But circumstances and commercial pressures led him into the rock world instead. Sources claim that Perry privately viewed his time with Journey as a compromise of his authentic artistic identity. This internal conflict apparently took a significant toll on him over the years. Perry reportedly became fascinated with Otis Redding as a teenager and based much of his vocal approach on Redding's emotionally powerful style. Studio engineers allegedly witnessed Perry listening to Otis Redding recordings and becoming emotional before his own vocal sessions. He would apparently express frustration that he was performing what he called arena rock instead of the kind of genuine soul music he admired. This dissatisfaction reportedly grew stronger as the years went on. According to various accounts, Perry repeatedly asked Journey to record material with more soul influences, but was consistently overruled by bandmates and management who wanted to continue producing hit rock songs. Witnesses say Perry would bring Otis Redding albums to band meetings as examples of the kind of music he wanted to create, but these suggestions were not well received. The dismissal of his artistic preferences apparently made Perry feel undervalued and artistically unfulfilled. Some industry insiders have even suggested that Perry's hip injury, which officially ended his career with Journey, may have had psychological components. While there was some physical damage, medical sources reportedly indicated that the injury should not have prevented him from performing. Some doctors allegedly believed that Perry's mind was preventing his body from continuing something that his soul no longer wanted to do. Whether or not this theory is accurate, it reflects the view that Perry's departure from Journey was about more than just physical health issues. The placement of Otis Redding at number 1 on Perry's list seems to represent everything. Perry felt he had to give up for commercial success. It symbolizes the authentic soul singer he believed he was meant to be, versus the rock star he became. This internal conflict between artistic authenticity and commercial success apparently haunted Perry throughout his career and may help explain why he chose to walk away from fame when he did. Perry's list of 7 favorite musicians tells a story that goes beyond simple musical preferences. Each choice reflects different aspects of his journey through the music industry, from vocal insecurity sparked by Aretha Franklin's comment, to creative frustrations over not being able to pursue his soul music influences like Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye, to fears about mental health inspired by Donny Hathaway's story, to complicated relationships with bandmates Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain, and finally to the ultimate sense of compromise represented by his love for Otis Redding. These selections paint a picture of an artist who achieved enormous commercial success but struggled with feelings that he had betrayed his authentic musical identity. Perry's long silence and withdrawal from public life after leaving Journey takes on new meaning when viewed through the lens of these influences and experiences. His list suggests that the pressures of fame, creative restrictions, difficult professional relationships, and the gap between commercial expectations and artistic desires all contributed to his decision to step away from the spotlight. For fans of Journey and Steve Perry, this list provides insight into the inner conflicts of one of rock music's greatest voices. It shows that even tremendous success cannot always compensate for feeling disconnected from one's true artistic calling. Perry's story raises questions about the price of fame and the compromises artists sometimes make for commercial success. Whether Perry made the right choices throughout his career is something only he can judge. But his list of favorite musicians offers a window into the thoughts and feelings of an artist who struggled to balance authenticity with the demands of the music business. The revelation of these 7 musicians and the stories connected to each choice has given fans much to think about regarding Perry's career and his reasons for leaving music when he did. It reminds us that behind every successful artist is a complex human being dealing with doubts, conflicts, and difficult decisions. Perry's list is not just about musical preferences but about identity, authenticity, and the sometimes painful journey of an artist trying to find their true voice in an industry that often demands something different.